are excited to get going here. We got a great session. We're going to be talking about 3 predictive ways to solve for CSAT. And to do that, we brought on Steve Trier. Um, Steve has done a lot in this space, but he's currently the COO and Chief Product Officer at Tether. Steve, so excited to have you join, and how the heck are you?
I'm doing great, Gabe, and thank you for having me here. I'm looking forward to the conversation and great to be here.
Appreciate it. As I mentioned, long background in kind of the CX space, doing some really fun stuff. Do you mind just taking a minute and tell us a little bit about some of the fun things in that background and what you guys have been doing over there at Tether?
Yeah, so I started this a long time ago in uh, direct-to-consumer catalog mail order business, and you think about it, that was sort of the beginning of moving the relationship out of the retail store and kind of going more direct, and that was a lot of fun. And the way that you engage customers and the way that you built that journey with them was a little different. Of course, we're on a really big learning curve because we're kind of out that. And of course, not much later than that, we saw the internet come along, and that changed it all over again. And I had the good fortune at that time of being able to jump into Best Buy and be on that journey and help build out their e-commerce platform. And again, just so much in learning and how we interact with customers, how that channel was going to work, how it was going to complement your existing channels. It's a lot of fun. And then, as I kind of you know, ended up there, I heard about this thing called Tether. And as we were looking at it and kind of baking up the idea, they were kind of talking to me about this idea that you could listen to all of the phone calls happening in your contact center and uncover insights from them. And I will tell you, when I was doing work at Best Buy and trying to understand consumers, it's so hard to get lots of really good data in context. It came to me that when I was trying to launch new programs in the store, I would actually go to the contact center and ask them to give me recordings that they could find them of previous product launches that got mentioned in calls because you just couldn't get a better source of information. And so that's why I'm here at Tether. And that's why we've been working at this for the last decade because it's just been so much fun in the space of conversational intelligence
Yeah.
to really kind of hone in on that customer experience, getting the true voice of customer, and being able to provide that back to organizations to allow them to reduce their costs, improve their customer
Yeah.
experience, improve their conversion, and reduce their churn. So
Yeah. I mean,
it's been a great journey and a lot of fun.
Yeah, you guys really have been at the forefront. I mean, you guys were talking about AI at Tether, I think 5 years ago or something, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But
So we
some,
we've been just recently now thinking about AI as a real, well, let's just say that what's going to happen is it's going to be transformative. Like it's not going to be just a cycle change. Like we see this as actually completely transforming the space we're in, and we're really looking forward to being on that journey and helping lead the way. So, today we do a lot of sort of machine learning, which is really helpful. You can structure insights, you can pull that out, and you can provide a lot of benefit. But AI is going to allow you to really just change the way that you think about the data that you get, the way that you actually pull information from that data. And probably the biggest thing that we see, and you'll be hearing this in a lot of the conversations you'll be having with your summit, is a lot of people are going to go after the idea that you can take as many conversations out of the contact center as possible by building automated systems using AI. And I
yeah,
think that's a really big opportunity, and we certainly will be providing data to help with that journey. But what that means is it's going to leave the most complex conversations left in your context.
yeah,
And so your agents are going to need new support and new help and new ways to actually continue to improve that customer experience, even though they're dealing with more complex issues. So you've got that. And then the one thing we do know about the market is consumers need and trends are going to change. And while you may have found one solution, it's a never ending journey.
yeah,
So, when we work with our customers, it's funny, the questions are still like very basic. Why do my customers call? What, what was going on? Why were they dissatisfied? What were the things I could have done about it? Like these are not super complex questions that questions haven't gotten any more complex. it's the sophistication in which you can answer those questions that changed a lot, and that's where AI can really kind of make a difference. Which is we always say we just had the phone call with the customer. We have everything we need to know about that customer journey, everything that's going on. Why would we need to survey them? Why would we need any other source of data? We've got this giant source of data with just a tremendous amount of customer insights in it. And our goal is just to leverage all the tools and technologies available to help our customers take full advantage of that.
Yeah, I love that, and especially that point of this idea between, you have this data, yet we go out and we try to find like more data, via surveys. And I want to bring you back there for a minute because you've been playing in this space for a long time. CSAT's one of those words that everybody knows it, everybody knows what's been going on with it. Based on some of the stuff you were just talking about, what's kind of the current thinking in the market? Where are you guys kind of around this idea of CSAT? Where is it? Where does it need to go? Let's start big picture as we dive into some of these transformational things you guys are doing.
Yeah, so as we look at CSAT, um, well, let's just talk about surveys for a minute because you kind of have to set the ground for like what's the current state. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to pick on surveys, but there's very few ways to get a lot of information back from a big cross section of their customers. The surveys are it. It's an add better tool.
Yeah.
So what we can do now though is that you can say, hey, I don't need that survey anymore, right? And first of all, let's face it, like people aren't taking surveys anymore. They're getting polar end biased responses to those because only the really happy and really upset people respond. They're not very timely and they're really costly. And so, we see that with all of our customers. Like they're spending all this time and energy on these surveys, and in fact, they're not getting any really meaningful, actionable data back to help them move the ball. And again, your conference hits it right on the nose, which is if you're not leading with customer experience, you're going to get left behind. Like it is a differentiator, and it's going to stay that way for some period of time. So we look at that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to say you don't need the survey. And somebody asked me the other day, are we trying to kill the CSAT survey? And I say, you know what? It's been killing itself for years. Like we don't have to do anything. It's already on its way out. We just have to find a fitting replacement. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to find that fitting replacement for our customers where you can predict a CSAT score on every single interaction. So right at the end of that interaction, you're going to get a score and you're going to know, did I have a dissatisfied customer? And so you're going to have that. Now think about that. 100% of your interactions have a result on it, not just 2%. And you have you get the middle as well. So you kind of get the really good balance of everything that you're hearing from your customers. And by the way, you have everything that they shared about why they're dissatisfied. You know if it's a product issue, you know if it's an age issue, if it's a location issue, if it's a service issue, a
Yeah.
technician, in my home issue, like you'll be able to really, one, uncover what's dissatisfying your customers, what is happening in that customer journey that's causing that, and then give you really actionable data to then go make business decisions about where you want to invest to actually improve that customer journey and remove that dissatisfaction, which of course we all care about because we want our customers to stay around for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love I think most people would agree that CSAT is broke. I love your point. It's killing itself. It's been difficult. It's been difficult to measure, manage, survey. So I love the concept of trying to get away from that. I guess maybe is the word I'd use on that. How do you start? Double click in this though for me. I mean, I'm so old school. I'm so used to seeing people. I get a survey. I click a number. I put in some comments. Like, how do you get around that? I mean, how do you start to analyze interactions in a way that still delivers that same type of information? People are happy or not happy. How's it done?
Yeah, that that's the beauty of the tip of the spear of artificial intelligence, which is we now use a language-based model to actually predict based on the language of the interaction on what they would have given you if you had taken a survey. So you don't have to send that survey. You don't have to wait for it to come back, and you don't have to hope that they gave you any good verbatim. They don't. It's all right there now for you at the end of the interaction, along with everything they shared. And one of the concepts we're really excited about is, like you said, we're hooked on surveys. Like, like I've been doing my whole career. have been super helpful. But at the end of the day, there's this idea of like what we call a verbatim, which is really the best part of the thing. You just can't read them all. I mean, like it's just like you get the when you do get the data, it's hard to actually use it all. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, hey, what were the key moments in the interaction that are really causal of the customer dissatisfaction? Because if we can surface those and then use AI to actually bring together the common themes, you actually effectively have taken two steps. You've predicted that there was going to be dissatisfaction, and you've actually rolled up common themes that are causing that dissatisfaction, in effect, allowing you to get after the answer a lot faster, a lot more effectively, and on a much grander scale against your target audience.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like, Steve, you've hit a really important point there that if you can mine the current data and be able to pull out that juice, that goodness, you really are bypassing and maybe even getting something that's far more accurate because, like you said, surveys are a little biased and they run into some of these challenges and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Um, how do you feel like people can start to utilize this type of data? I think sometimes the challenge we've had with CSAT in the past is one, to your point, we can't get through the verbatims. I love that. But also, it just becomes a score and we can't really train or do much on it. How have you been able to find and help organizations think through that next step? Okay, I'm looking at customer satisfaction and dissatisfaction differently, but what do I do with it? Or how do I implement it? Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. And so we've been, obviously we've had some customers with us for quite a while, and there's a few that really just love pushing the edges. They're like, give me this thing, give me this thing, give me this thing, and they just start messing with it. But um, a couple of areas that we've seen. One, when you think about the contact center, and you think about CSAT, their moment of truth is when they're on that interaction. Now, of course, there's CX leaders, product leaders, and other folks inside the organization that could use that data to go back and analyze what they've heard about the customer journey and help. But when that agent starts that interaction, they're in a moment of truth and they have to do something. And so what we've seen is we've seen operational leaders in the contact center actually start to focus in on the agent themselves. So in other words, did I have agents that actually produce more dissatisfaction than other agents? And how do I actually understand that? And again, if you went back to, I want to understand which interactions are causing dissatisfaction or result in dissatisfaction. Think of it. Even if I knew the 2% and I could attach it back to the interaction, it's a tiny percent of my interaction and doesn't really give me a full picture. So now, on 100% of the conversations happening inside your contact center, you can look at it by agent, you can look at it by team, you can look at it by line of business, you can look at it by, so you can begin to understand, are there organizational things that I've done? Is there training that I have or haven't provided? Are there tools I have or haven't built that are starting to surface the ways to help that agent in the moment of truth
Yeah.
as they're trying to help a customer through a complex problem or a difficult question on their journey? And so one obviously is just how do we help the agent? How do we help the agent win? And as we see this, where we see it going is right now, there's still, somebody went in and they looked at the interaction, they made some suggestions. What we really see this going to is that AI will help surface that opportunity. Think about it like, hey, well, based on this interaction, there was a lot of dissatisfaction, and here's something the agent could have done differently that could have changed the trajectory.
Huge. Yeah,
And
it's
that's a
huge.
lot of fun. And that gets really exciting because now you're really automating the process with high quality input, helping your agent, decreasing your cost to do it all.
That's
Like
big.
you're
Yeah. I,
literally getting a better agent experience and you're lowering costs. That's kind of one great example. The other great example here is um, this idea of being able to track the customer journey. So some conversations all get wrapped up in one conversation. Some are a series of journey, right? You do this, call me back, you do that, maybe it's online and then you call me back. Maybe I ordered something from you, I got a confusing email, where it ships, I call you to find out what's going on. So what we're seeing customers do is Obviously, there's people that'll use this data inside Tether to do all the things we talked about, but you can ship this data into other systems. So you can ship it into a CRM, you can ship it into a ticketing platform, and you can set up conditions and say, if I just had a conversation that was in dissatisfaction about this product based on a shipping issue, I want to put that into queue for review. I'm going to create a case. What
Yeah.
they do is they automate the case off of that CSAT data
Oh,
and the other structured data, and they
wow.
determine if a reach out is necessary to go correct or wrong in a customer journey. Very
Yeah.
cool. The other one is while we pick on surveys, what they're doing is they're a product company. They sell through a lot of big distribution channels. They have a lot of different brands, and they're trying to get information back to their engineers that build the product, to their packagers, to their distribution channel partners. And that's well, one of the things they've been using conversational intelligence for. But with AI, again, it allows them to target interactions that give them the best information. What then they do is they ship it into a CRM system. And if it meets a certain criteria again, they actually ship a follow-up survey that's super targeted. It's like, hey, we know we just had a conversation with you. We know that didn't go well, and we know that you were talking about this product line. Could you answer these three additional questions for us? And now you're getting feedback that's just like everyone's going to read those verbatim, right? Because you're like, I just asked the customer about a problem they told me they had about a product that I really care about, and I'm going to ship that directly to the engineers so they can do something about it. So those are
Yeah.
just some really, early examples of ways that we're seeing customers kind of dive in.
I love that. That's super tangible, very actionable. And I love that point just on actionability. I think again to be able to surface that type of insight so that agents can take potentially that type of action. That I think is sometimes lacking in these survey-based feedback mechanisms where it's like, okay, what do I do with this now? I got a verbatim and a score. I don't really know what I'm doing. So love that you're trying to surface more actionability. As we kind of look to wrap here, Steve, one of the challenges I think people are all trying to garner or grapple with at the moment is AI in CX. It's like, where do I start? How do I do it? What's the best place to go? For people who are kind of starting this journey, what advice would you give them about AI and CX so that they could successfully maybe take those first couple steps in that direction?
Yeah, so I guess I've been doing this a long time, and by the way, what's really interesting about this time is this is like one of the most uh, areas of opportunity we've had as business leaders in decades. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. When the internet came along, when .com came along, it just opened all these new opportunities to work with our customers, give them different experiences, and this is one of those times. Really
Yeah.
exciting time. Well, based on that premise there, um, as you know, as I've built a lot of programs over the years, it's a customer-led opportunity, which is where are your customer pain points, right? So let's just focus there. But one of the things that we've really been focused on over this past couple of years is really just more the customer pain. But where's the money? This is the caution I would give people is I hear a lot of things coming to market, but I don't see the ROI. It's cool. They might be very interesting, and I'm a curious person too. But if my curiosity doesn't result in a business outcome for my customers, we're probably not on the right track. And so, as we kind of sort through these things, we look at our customer, but we also look at the way that where we can impact their business. So in other words, if you can use AI to reduce their cost of operations, you have something that's meaningful. And so we try to channel into there where I can specifically do things that, create better lifetime value or decrease churn. Those are the things that we're focused on. So early on in the stages here, I'm just a follow the money kind of guy. Like I care about customers. I care about my customers and we want them both to be really happy. And that means you have to focus on customer pain points and the ROI to go do something about it.
I
So it's
like
just
that.
kind of an initial framework. But the other thing that we've been doing is we've been doing more rapid prototyping.
Yeah.
So in the past we used to kind of like you built a new QA feature, but it looked a lot like other QA features in the market, and you didn't really need a lot of feedback on it, and you could just kind of launch it and tweak it. And we've taken a much more iterative approach where we're actually putting the tools in the hands of our customers very early.
Yeah.
we create what we call early adopter programs, and we work together with them. And they actually right there on the journey with us, kind of leading the way. So it's really just kind of, go in and stay focused on what matters.
Yeah, yeah. I think those are really wise ones, especially the ROI. There's so many fun little tools out there, and I like your point. They're cool, but boy, at some point you're gonna have to justify those costs. So you might want to start now. So, Steve, really appreciate the talk track. If somebody wanted to, learn a little bit more about Tether, or maybe get in contact with you guys, what's the best way to do that?
Well, they could reach me direct at Steve at steve.trier@tether.com. I'd be happy to chat with anybody who's interested in having a conversation and talk more about this space. Certainly, they could go to tether.com and they could, request a meeting, and I'll
Awesome.
certainly do it that way. So either one of those ways is really
Awesome.
good.
Well, I would definitely invite you to do that. Steve, like you said, has been doing this for a little bit and had some great experiences, both tactical and strategic, I think, to share with the audience. So, Steve, really appreciate you and Tether joining today. And for the audience, hope everyone has a fantastic day. Take care.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabe.